Ooh, we are live and you are here and we are here and so are we and you and you and you. We're the Crafty Boys! Thank you, studio audience. Hello and welcome to the 146th episode of the Crafty Boys, closing in on the big 150. We're awesome. Yeah, we are here and you are here, and we are hopefully going to entertain you to the point where you will learn nothing about beer and just figure out that drinking beer is not really something you should really review, just something you gotta consume and party with your friends, even if your friends are online. We're very lonely. So what are we doing? I grabbed the wrong bloody beer. Alan, tell them what we're doing. I gotta go to the other one.
All right. So, okay, we're gonna go a bit off the board tonight. There's something that has been a trend in beer that's been going on for the past few years, and it's really becoming popular the past couple of years. None of us have ever tried it, but a beer float. We've talked about it before. We've wanted to do one. Well, tonight we're doing it. We're gonna have beer floats. We've gone for a standard stout. All three of us have different stouts. We have vanilla ice cream. And first of all, we're going to try our stouts just on their own, and then we're going to try them in a beer float. And that's what we're going to do. So I'll start because I've got my beer. It was my pick this week, and I picked the float part of it. I had wanted to use Hoyne's Finnegan's Irish Stout. Now, this is a stout that's normally released in the fall. They've released a small batch for this time of year for the express purpose of making things like beer floats. In fact, that's what made me think about it. Is I saw a social media post from Hoyne showing how they made a beer float using Finnegan's Irish Stout. So this is a Finnegan's Irish Stout, which we've never done on the show before.
Nice.
And so we're going to give this one a try. It says on the bottle that it's inspired by the unparalleled prose of James Joyce. Ulysses, considered by scholars to be one of the greatest works of fiction ever written, took James Joyce 8 years to write. It is a monumental accomplishment. Finnegan's Wake, described by his wife as chop suey, took him 17 years to complete. That is the very definition of dedication. His prose is a masterful balance of unparalleled precision and linguistic playfulness, his voice utterly unique. He, of all people, had a love of his craft, and we thank him for it. It's 5.1% by volume, and that's all there is to it. So I'm going to pour this.
All right.
Try a quick sample. And Shane, you go on ahead.
My beer is a beer we did a while back. It's called Stoutnik. It's a Russia Imperial Stout. It is 7.5 alcohol units. And it is made by Longwood, which is a brewery up in Nanaimo, if I remember correctly. Oh my God.
I seem to remember we liked it when we had it.
That is, look at that. That's like borderline motor oil combined with barley wine. Like, holy cow.
Nice.
It's almost a barley wine. Like, I swear this is more of a barley wine than a stout. But you know what? I'm gonna try it. Here we go.
It talks here on my label. I'll tell you just a moment here. This is interesting because your Stoutnik made me think of this. On the back, it says fermented in stone Yorkshire squares. So this distinctive type of ale was originally shipped to Imperial Russia. It was a favorite of Russian nobility. So it makes me wonder about that title of yours, Shane, calling it Stoutnik.
Russian Imperial Stout.
So I'm curious.
But I mean, here you go. I mean, look at this.
To do with it.
This is how we drink it, but apparently, I guess the Russian royalty would have been like this. Oh,
yes, naturally.
Yes, I certainly enjoy a good stout.
When I poured it, mine looked like this really red.
So what are you drinking, Dave?
So mine is, I said Adams earlier, I believe. Samuel Smith's Imperial Stout.
Samuel Smith, a man born of bear and wolf. I don't
And
know.
it says that on the back of the label too. Absolutely.
All right, so I've got this glass which I just drank out of, and I have this glass that has ice cream in it.
All right. So now
What do we do?
I'm going to say my Finnegan's is very good. It's sweet, which is what you want. You don't want to have a very dry beer. You want something sweet that's going to go with the ice cream. Now, to keep in mind, they do, from everything I've read, it's advisable to pour your beer first and then scoop your ice cream inside of
Now he tells us.
we haven't done that today. So I've already got a glass here with ice cream. Shane has a glass with ice cream. Let's pour.
I can just picture people going, "Oh, that's like some faking gay. What the hell? You do it."
Now, a word of advice: when you make a float of any style using pop, as soon as the pop hits the sugar, it starts to foam up, and the same thing will happen with the beer.
Let's find out. Here we go. Jeez.
You want to pour it slowly and evenly.
Oh my God! Look at that.
So there's mine.
Nice.
Look at that. Wow.
Oh, hold that back a
Oh
bit.
my God! It smells like.
What'd you get for ice cream, gents?
I'm using Chapman's vanilla.
I don't remember.
Same.
It's in the freezer. It's
Probably a good idea to use actual ice cream and not that frozen dessert.
No, it's real ice cream. No,
Okay.
Allie likes her ice cream.
All right, so I'm going to try this float.
There we go.
I approve.
Wow. The vanilla from the ice cream really complements the beer.
Yeah. Not that the beer needs much complimenting.
I mean,
I like my beer as it is, quite frankly. It's a really tasty beer. But this, yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know that I would like this. I wanted to try it. I wanted to be bold. But I didn't know that I actually like it, and I do. I like this a lot.
You were ready to like throw it down on the ground. This sucks! Whose stupid idea was this anyway? My God, you guys are losers.
I mean, this is actually really, really good.
It's you're right. I can see why it became a popular thing with being yummy. with
being yummy. Now, today we've gone for the most basic thing that you can go for, which is vanilla ice cream and a Swedish, like a stout that's on the Swedish, not Swedish, but it's a bit sweet. There's other combinations that you can go with. I've read up on some of them. You could use like a raspberry sorbet or a strawberry ice cream to go with a Hefeweizen. You could use a coffee flavored ice cream with like a chocolate porter, or even a chocolate ice cream with a chocolate porter, or chocolate stout. Or
can you imagine with the longboat?
That's what I'm thinking too. With the longboat from Phillips,
I want to do that.
Or the Young's double chocolate.
Okay, that's it. We've all called it here. From here on out for the rest of the year, every Wednesday, it's beer with ice cream in it. Done. Oh wow! I gotta say, I managed to spill beer on my desk, and I don't know how I did it. But I gotta say, look at that! Look at that! It's like melding together into a creamy, milky.
It's really, really good. I mean, wow.
And I suppose, and actually, and the flavor would definitely change with different kinds of stouts too.
Absolutely. So the experience that each of us is having is probably a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
let me ask you, Shane, how sweet is your stout, Nick?
It's got a sweet edge on it. It's not really, really sweet, but it definitely, when the beer first hits your palate, You sense that there are some sugars in it that are making love to your tongue. But then, after they've made love to your tongue and jumped out the back window of your tongue, the owner, the husband returns, who's a very much stronger and darker individual that has all kinds of flavors that make your mouth sing with exuberance.
Right.
So yeah, sweet on the end, awesome in the
Now, how about you, Dave? How sweet is your beer to start with? Would you say?
I would say the same as Shane, actually, which doesn't surprise me because I think both of us are imperial stouts.
Yes, I'm having an Irish stout. I don't really know if there's much of a difference, actually. But yeah, wow.
So
I gotta
good.
say, if we're all this
Good
quiet,
call.
that's a good sign.
Good call.
Whew.
I would like to speak and say words for the podcast, but I'm busy drinking now.
Yeah.
I'm actually waiting for the ice cream to start, falling into my mouth too.
Yeah. Well, I've got a spoon here. It's okay to use a spoon. You use a spoon to eat your beer.
All right.
And actually, it's kind of funny. Well, it's not funny, but when I get a scoop of the vanilla ice cream with the stout on it, it tastes like coffee.
Mm. It does. The stout is mixing with that ice cream and making it very, very, very coffee-like. You're right. Hey, Locke has arrived.
Locke has arrived.
So, Locke, we've all been enjoying our stouts mixed with vanilla ice cream for our stout floats this week.
Mm-hmm. And what are the results? How do you find them?
I think we find them quite positive, sir.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah, they're very good. Actually, I'm surprised.
So since Locke has just arrived, for his benefit, let him know what stouts we've got. Mm-hmm. I'm rocking the Nanaimo-based Longwood, the Stoutnik, an Imperial.
Oh, I'm fond of that
Russian,
one. Yep.
Yes, a Russian Imperial Stout. It's very good. What about Dave? You're kind of the weird one, Dave. What?
Yeah. Well, Locke might know this one, perhaps. This is Sam Smith's.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Imperial Stout. Do you know of that one? Did you have that when you were over in Merry England?
And I'm rocking the Finnegan's Irish Stout from Hoyne.
Nice. And I like how Finnegan looks on that label there.
Yeah.
On purpose. That is very much on purpose.
What are you drinking tonight, Locke?
Well, so
you ran out, didn't you?
Yeah, I ran out. I literally ran out to the local beer. So they spell it stupidly. It's a beer market, like you were like losing syllables and stuff. I'm currently down on Queen Street West. So quick tour. So this is the new digs. This is me for the next couple of months while I'm working on a sort of a lawyery kind of thing where I'm basically scanning documents and trying to OCR them for legal purposes, which is frustrating as hell.
That's right. You mentioned that a couple weeks ago that you were thinking about getting something closer. Yeah.
So anyway, this is where I'm at. And the local that I have found, which is pretty rad, is this beer marketplace. What I've been drinking all night is like 3 pints in. Not nothing serious.
It's a school night.
Yeah, exactly. But what I've been drinking is Amsterdam Brewery's Bone Shaker. And I've got to say, it is great. It is exactly what you would hope that they would do to make something that was like contemporary in its hoppiness. You know, it's like a contemporary IPA. It's competitive with Cascadian style brews, but it is signature Amsterdam Brewery Toronto, which makes me need to pause and explain it for a minute here. Amsterdam Brewery in Toronto are one of Toronto's oldest breweries. Why they called themselves Amsterdam in Toronto is a matter of some mystery. I don't want to get too far into this, but do you remember back in the old days in like the 80s in Victoria, there was a place called Club California?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is it with Canadians naming their shit after some other fucking place?
Like Boston
You know what I'm
pizza.
saying?
Like Boston pizza. That's true. Well, let me actually give you a little information about the Amsterdam Brewing Company here. The Amsterdam Brewing Company is a brewery in Toronto, Ontario, founded by Dutchman Roel Brammer.
Mm-hmm.
Is now headed by.
So at least the founder's Dutch. All right, that helps.
So there you go. That's why.
That helps.
Began in September of 1986 as the Amsterdam Brasserie and Brew Pub in the former tire retreading plant on John Street. It had a second brew pub location, blah, blah, blah. 2012, it moved to Estendard something or other drive because it has moved to a much, much larger facility down by the waterfront, I gather. So there you go. So the founder is indeed.
Okay.
Well, at any rate, like I was saying, this brew, it's hoppy like a Cascadian IPA, but it's got that malty back end, right? And it's smooth and it's balanced. And like Amsterdam brewery beers have always had this sort of like roundness to them. Like when I say balance, I mean like they're serious about getting that right. Like it's not like there's now. Me, I like my hoppy Jags, but it's a complete picture. You know what I mean? Like it's not like this sort of bolt that's going out at an angle. It's like the flavor overall is just really complete. You know what I mean? Robust, good. Anyway, very, very happy with this beer. I think it does that brewery credit, and particularly, as one of the legacy breweries that have been doing craft beer in Ontario, because they're a rare breed. Ontario punishes beer drinkers. This is what I'm reminded of every time I come here. What am I drinking right now? I'm drinking water and whiskey. Why? Because buying beer in this town is garbage. The beer store is like a cross between all the worst aspects of communism and all the worst aspects of American capitalism combined into one. Then you've got the LCBO, which is sort of like, if you don't drink wine, they don't even want to talk to you. You know? Anyway. So,
damn it, Dave.
Hey?
I know, right? Dave.
Dave.
It's all Dave's fault.
So, speaking of Dave, or it's not Dave. I don't know what.
Oh, hey, I got to show you guys something.
You were saying.
So, I have to show you guys this.
But
so, my brother-in-law on the weekend went out to Souk, which is a community. Nice. Which is a community that's about half hour outside of Victoria. It's kind of like this small, I don't want to say backwater kind of town, but because it isn't anymore. But it was at one point. It's really been developed. Anyway, they've got two breweries out there. One of them is called Souk Brewing Company. Now, they got this cool thing out there now. Now, you guys have heard of growlers, right? Out at the Souk Brewing Company, they have something called a crowler with a C, not a G. They have a custom canning system where you choose your beer. They can it in this 32-ounce can. I kid you not. This is a real thing. They fill the can. They seal the top right in front of you, and you buy it and walk away with it. The beer will stay fresh in this can for weeks until you open it. Now, it's just a one-time use kind of deal. But, you know, if you're going camping or something and you don't want your beer to start going south the minute you walk out of the brewery, this could be the way to go.
Being aluminum, I have to assume that's very recyclable.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That is very, very cool.
32 ounces, so it's half a growler. I had their IPA, which was 7%. It was damn fine. Like, it was really good. And if I look on their website, they got other beers out there too, including like, it looks like a barley wine that's like in regular production that you can go out there and get. Like, I don't know if I'd want to have one of these in a barley wine, but I mean,
you might pour it into a glass first, I guess, if it's barley.
I might pour it into a glass and share it with a couple of people. And not drink the whole thing by myself in one sitting.
It depends on how fast you need to get drunk when you're running through the park.
I suppose. Sure. Yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd show that to you guys. I thought it was kind of cool. Nice. It's a huge can. Like, everybody who saw it was like, look at the size of that can.
Why?
And they weren't talking about my butt either.
So,
Locke, let's see that card again. We didn't get a chance to really look at that card.
Oh,
the card.
This isn't a card. This is a beer mat.
It's upside down.
Is it?
I'll buy that for $1.
Boom shaker.
Boom shaker.
This is the other side of it. That is upside down. It's like that. But if you're shaking,
cool.
And now it makes sense why they call it Bone Shaker.
All right, I've got another beer mat for you. Omnipolo.
Okay.
Who are apparently, and yes, indeed, Gypsy Brewing has finally made its way to Ontario. They are a gypsy brewer in Ontario. And I had one of their drinks the other night. I believe it was called the Zodiac. And it was very interesting. I'm not saying it would be a go-to for me, but you know, like for a sharp, slightly blue cheesy IPA, I mean, I can't really compare it to anything. It was a little weird, but it was good. Interesting, good. You know what I mean? Not like you'll have 10 of them good, but you know, like interesting. And the fact that we've got Gypsy Brewing going on in Ontario is exciting to me, because that means the change is coming. That means that whether it's coming from top down or not, and if you know, there's an election going on right now, we'll see what happens. I don't think anybody's looking at liberalizing liquor laws. Truthfully, I think less of Doug Ford than I did of Rob Ford, and that's scary because we all remember what he was like. But you know, like, I guess what I'm saying is that from the ground up, people are just starting to brew stuff. So very exciting.
Cool.
Is there a movement for you brew out there?
Not that I've seen. Like, yeah, I mean, Ontario liquor laws are oppressive in like I said, like a kind of a sort of a prohibition meets communism kind of a way. Like it's a little bit fucked up. At least the communists drank lots of vodka. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah, like fucking black market stills and stuff, though. Like it wasn't a.
Okay, so here's an
Sanctioned.
eccentricity. Here's an eccentricity of Ontario liquor laws. The cops used to run a thing called the Matador Club. I don't know if they still do. I should check to see if it's still going. That would be fun, actually. The Matador Club was actually a good time. It was an after-hours booze up run by the cops in spite of Ontario's liquor laws. Because who else is going to run that shit except the cops? They used to have bands. The way it would work, and it was socially awkward, there would be people who would go around to the tables with backpacks full of Mickeys, and they would be like, "Should I buy a Mickey?" And you would buy the Mickey, and you would sort of pour your drink and watch the band and have a good time, sort of. In the days when there were no other, at least it was sufficiently an oppressive system that it was very rare to find a proper after-hours club. This was an after-hours club. And the fact that it was run by police corruption, no, it wasn't police corruption. It was police entrepreneurialism. I'd love to know if it's still going. I sort of hope they keep doing that just for tradition's sake, because it is sort of. Where else in Canada would you do that? You know what I mean?
Toronto.
Maybe Montreal.
Maybe Montreal.
How about Restigouche?
Yeah, Montreal has always been a relaxed place where you like booze up. So everybody's got a keg. Everybody, having a little party after dark, and everybody's welcome. It's like Montreal is very easygoing that way. Toronto, maybe not so much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
What about our stories?
So I gotta tell you guys about something here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm absolutely smitten here. So last night in the baseball game between San Diego Padres and the Atlanta Braves, there was a woman named Gabby DeMarco at Petco Park in San Diego. She was sitting there enjoying her beer when suddenly a foul ball was hit up into the stands. And the ball went flying straight towards Gabby DeMarco, and she's holding her cell phone in one hand, the beer in the other, and she manages to catch. I don't know if she caught it or if the ball just went right into her cup, but anyway, it went into her cup and spilled a minimal amount of beer, probably just the displacement from the ball, and then everybody around her is cheering, and so they're going chug, 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 and she chugs the beer with the ball still in the glass. And she was, I guess, in interviews and stuff, she's saying that she still has the cup with the ball in it. She hasn't taken the ball out of the cup. Anyway,
is this a question about the value of the ball in the cup versus if she takes it out?
No, I think it's a sort of more of a sentimental thing. I mean, this is like her 15 minutes right here.
No. But to be fair, like, suppose she leaves it in the cup. Will the next owner leave the ball in the cup?
Probably.
That could become a thing.
I would if it were for sale and I were to buy it,
cool.
I would leave the ball in the cup.
But here's the danger, it's sort of and I like this fact. There's some risk involved. What if somebody took the ball out of the cup? Would it lose value? There's speculation immediately involved in the value of the in the cup, isn't it?
I guess so. But you know what? I mean, bottom line, forgetting all that, she's super cute. She likes beer and she likes baseball. Yeah, that's somebody get me a fan here.
Alan's in love. That's funny. That is absolutely stunning. The other article is
which I didn't read, but I thought it was kind of
cool.
Cool, yes.
I've actually seen Star Wars Burlesque before.
Have you?
The Rio Theater here has done it a few times over the past couple of years, and I went and saw it once. It was burlesque.
Is it the same show?
I don't think it's the same show as the one from the article, but no. I think this one, the one that I saw here, was local. As far as I know, if it had people traveling to do that kind of thing, then hey, I didn't know. But yeah, I gotta say this one looks a little more interesting. My favorite part is the inflatable Jabba the Hutt. But you know, I mean, here's the thing: is that I've enjoyed burlesque. I've seen burlesque before a few times, like from a bunch of a lot of them. And they're, I don't know, they're the Star Wars one, I think, is definitely more up my alley because I, you know, think Star Wars is awesome.
Look, sexy slave Leia is standard.
It's true. Which they have several. So
yeah.
Yes.
Was there any attempt at a sexy version of other Star Wars characters?
They had the dancers, so the Twi'lek.
Sure, okay, that's again it's fairly obvious.
The thing that I really would have liked to have seen, which is in the video that they have at the top of the article, is actually sand people. That I would like to see, because that is, you know, sexy Leia, the dancer. Those are the two, you know, obvious ones. But then again, you have sand people doing their thing on stage. I don't know. I'm not sure how that would actually work, but I'd like
that stormtroopers as well.
They have stormtroopers, of course. Yes, of course. You can't not have those. They also have
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett's in there. They've also got Han Solo and Chewbacca, but I'm not sure how that would work. But there you go.
Yeah, that's interesting. The most daring attempt I've seen, and I mean, it was mostly a painted leotard, but you know, a sexy R2-D2.
There is a sexy R2-D2 in this show as well. They also have a the what are they called? The not Grimorian Guard. Who are the guys in the red things?
Oh, the Imperial Guards.
The Imperial Guard. They have some of those. They've got C-3PO, and of course a variety of different Jedis. So I think Boba Fett, out of all of these photos, is probably my favorite.
So there's a photo here in the article of some woman splayed out on a land speeder. She seems to be wearing a G-string and tape around her boobs. Who's that supposed to be?
My assumption would be Leia.
Maybe Leia never was in the.
When you say land speeder, you like describe the model. Like, are we talking
like the one that Luke had on Tatooine before his aunt and uncle got killed?
The land speeder is actually a
the classic car pose where she's like
the classic car pose.
The land speeder that I'd be up for.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about Star Wars, who has not seen Solo?
Me.
You've not seen Solo?
I have not seen Solo yet.
Apparently, I was just hearing, I have seen it, by the way. I was just hearing that it is the first Star Wars that is going to be a box office flop.
Yeah, considering its budget.
Did it have a higher budget than the other ones?
Yeah, because they basically had to shoot the movie twice.
What? How's that?
Well, I don't know the exact details, but essentially, from what I understand from the stuff that I have read, the film was half done or half shot. Then they fired the director and they brought in Ron Howard to basically save the film. And I gather they had to shoot.
And this is Solo.
Solo, yeah. So they had to shoot quite a bit of what they had already shot again. I'm not sure why, to be honest. Maybe it was directorial vision. I don't know. But
yeah, probably. Look,
I would imagine.
Back up. I'm all for that kind of stuff. Kubrick, who I still think is probably the best film director in history, he would take upwards of 100 takes of a single scene.
Yeah.
Why? Because then he's got choice in the editing room as to how he wants the psychology to play. And if that's not why you're making the movie, then why are you making the movie?
But then, I mean, if you look at the second best director in history, which is Ed Wood, he would, like one take and that's it, moving on.
and the third best director on the world is Jonathan Frakes, because he has the nickname of Two Takes Frakes. So there you go. Which I read somewhere and heard in some, comment.
Well, and there's also the fourth best director, Alan Smithy.
Alan Smithy has
done a lot of stuff.
Who the fuck is Alan Smithy? I don't even know who that is.
Alan Smithy is the name that people will put on the credits if they don't want to be known for the film.
Is that how it goes?
So yeah, if
I've actually seen films.
Smithy.
I've actually seen films where the director's name is Alan Smithy, and I'm like, oh, I wonder who did that, because they're ashamed of this movie.
I am fully going to use Alan Smithy.
Alan Smithy.
SMITH.
I am fully using Alan Smithy the next time I fucking sign into Google.
Films that credit the director as Alan Smithy in the last little while: Hellraiser, Bloodline, Mighty Ducks the movie, the first face-off, The River Made Me Drown, Ghost Fever, Let's Get Harry, Twilight Zone the movie, Scent of a Woman, apparently, because I gather, according to this, Scent of a Woman was cut for time when it was shown on planes, and the director was not pleased with this. So he's the same director who also directed Meet Joe Black.
Scent of a Woman was up for like Oscars, wasn't it?
I know, but these films were cut, like they were re-edited somewhat to make them shorter so that they could be shown on planes and on television. And the directors actually said, well, if you're doing that, then make sure my name says Alan Smithy, because that's not the film I made. So there you go. And a lot of the episodes of Tiny Toon Adventures was directed by Alan Smithy. And apparently the MacGyver pilot was also Alan Smithy.
Oh, wow.
So
the new one, the new one or the old one?
The original one, yeah.
The original, okay. Wow.
So there's tons of times where, I mean, this goes back to when films began, right?
So you'd almost be like better off to like I could legally change my name to Alan Smithy and say, hey, this is my resume. There you go.
100. There you go. This podcast directed by Alan Smithy. So there you go. But so basically Solo, what we were talking about earlier was the film, the budget apparently ballooned to like $300 million. When I gather the original budget was supposed to be like 150 or 130 or something. So I guess they had to do a hell of a lot of work.
Disney can afford it.
Well, this is the thing, right? People are going, it's a flop. Well, give it enough time and it'll make its money back. Maybe not a lot, but it'll at least hopefully break even.
Put it this way, fuck up the franchise, and then where are you?
Well, this is the thing: is that the big question is why are people not enjoying or not going to see the film? And I think, quite honestly, I think that they should do what Lord of the Rings did. You pick a month that you steadily release in around a holiday, Memorial Day, those kinds of things. They really should have done that. But then, of course, the Force Awakens went into December. And I remember, I seem to recall it was supposed to come out earlier, but they pushed it back to December for whatever reason. And then, of course, the next Star Wars film came out a year later. So they really should have done the same bloody thing with this one. They should have said, December is our month. If we want to change it, maybe we'll do it. But, we've kind of established 2 movies already at the same time. So why they didn't, I don't know why. I mean, I could see why they wanted to do it. It's Memorial Day. It's a big deal for Star Wars fans. May the 4th be with you.
It's too many movies.
I don't mind a movie a year. I can handle a movie a year, but not a movie and then another one like 5 and a bit months down the road.
Yeah.
But again, I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of interesting. It wasn't what I thought it would be, and I was very pleased when I left. I don't have any, bad taste in my mouth for that film. I would think like The Last Jedi, a lot of people hated. I kind of liked it, but I had to watch it again in order to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
I still don't like what they did with Luke.
But I did post. I actually found a couple of weeks ago. I found this video where somebody had actually gone through and kind of done a story analysis, like a breakdown of the stories that are actually in The Last Jedi, and that actually made me appreciate the film more because you have 3 major characters with 3 major storylines, and really punching the whole. We want to get away from the original trilogy. We need to establish ourselves as a new thing. The Star Wars stories, like the ones that are in between, are for the nostalgia a little bit. They're for trying to tell the story of the characters beforehand.
Yeah.
But the moving forward, the episodes 9 and apparently 10, 11, and 12 really need to, I think, adopt some of the elements from The Last Jedi, where the character of Laren, not Ro Laren, not Adam West. Oh my God, what the hell's his name? With the mask?
Oh?
No, Smash the Mask. Darth Vader's
grandson.
Oh my God,
Rory Calhoun?
Rory Calhoun?
The dude from Girls.
Yeah, that guy. Anyway,
Adam Driver.
The character of Adam Driver. Kylo Ren. In the first film, in the previous episode, we saw him being introduced. We saw the nostalgic factor of that film. And then we had Adam Driver in this one being very much actually kind of almost breaking the fourth wall, saying, we have to if we have to get away from the past, you have to really push past it and kill it if you have to. You have to kill the whole thing. So kind of alluding to the fact that, this is not The Force Awakens. We had the love letter. Now we're trying to establish what's going to happen moving forward. And if we have to say like you to the previous movies, especially those first 3, which I remember vaguely, those need to, you have to kind of to really.
Well, look, what made it strong in the first place was ultimately that, whatever else George Lucas was, he was 2 things. One, he was an opportunist, which is to say that most of the things that people like best about his movies weren't things that he wrote, but rather things that he noticed. Second, he was a serious student of Joseph Campbell, who was, one of the world's sort of premier authors on the serious study of myth generally, right? So if they do two things, one, notice what they've got and what's working and what isn't, and two, focus on stuff that's got deep roots, they'll probably be fine, right? That would be my take.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, I mean, I'm trying to remember what this analysis of the story was, but I don't. So there you go. But yeah, I mean, it's I like where it's going, but it took me a while to get there because I would consider myself to be a hardcore fan, but it did take me a while to get to the point where I, was appreciating it. I think it was the third viewing of that film that I actually was like, okay, I'm really
third viewing?
Yeah, I saw it 3 times. But it comes on a Netflix at the end of the month, so there you go. So you can watch it as many times as you want. But yeah, no, it was
0 works for me.
Okay, I'm gonna come to Shane's defense here. I've seen the movie 3 times now as well. I bought the Blu-ray because I have to add it to my collection. I just have to. It's a Star Wars movie. I don't care if it's a movie of 2.5 hours of Yoda taking a crap. I'm gonna buy it and add it to my collection.
A big one. This is.
Oh, light a match, I must.
Where was I going with this? Anyway, I bought the movie and I've watched it, and I'm starting to get a little bit more of an appreciation for it. I still don't like the way that they've kind of dealt with Luke's character, but I get it at the same time. The only thing about it I don't like and will never like is the whole Leia being ejected into space and using the Force to find her way back into the ship. I'm sorry, that ranks up there with Indiana Jones avoiding catastrophic burning from a nuclear device by putting himself inside of a fridge.
So she pulled the Force.
She basically tractor beams herself into the ship.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
The second time I saw it, I was on the airplane. That must have been the part where I fell asleep.
Otherwise, I thought it was actually a pretty good movie. I was entertained. It's a little bit long. They could have done without the whole casino thing. I think that was kind of extraneous. Other than that, I thought it was.
What I thought was interesting about it was the play between. I can't remember the actor's name, so I'm gonna say that guy. The guy who's like the
guy.
The guy, the one. Yeah. Anyway, when he defies orders and stuff, and then there's this issue with Laura Dern. And I've loved that Laura Dern's involved because I think Laura Dern is awesome.
Yeah.
And then Laura Dern doesn't do the predictable thing. Well, she does initially, which is to say that she's a bitch. And he's like, oh, but it was but I was doing the right thing. And then it's sort of like, oh, but yeah, but fuck it, But then Laura Dern sort of redeems that character by doing the tough thing for herself, not just because that guy was being a dick, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking sacrifice myself for the for the greater cause and all that. I thought all of that was very interesting.
Yeah,
in terms of the contemporary male female dynamic.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Laura Dern is fantastic.
She is, isn't she?
She is, and
I don't know how old she is right now, but I'd still like to meet her.
Yeah. So what movie role do you most remember her for?
Oh my God, Wild at Heart.
Yeah, same here. Wild at Heart.
That's exactly
Wild at Heart. What a great movie.
How badass
Oh, I know.
Like, and that's Laura Dern and like David Lynch, because Now, quick question: have you guys watched the latest Twin Peaks?
No,
I haven't.
Really? How could you not?
I'm so sorry.
You don't need to apologize.
I'm going to admit something.
I just it was like there's more Twin Peaks and David Lynch is involved. How can I not fucking see this? And he does some very odd things, which is normal for David Lynch.
Yes,
most of it's about being odd. One of the interesting ones is that the character that showed up in Fire Walk with Me, played by David Bowie, is actually, though not played by David Bowie, a significant piece of what goes on. I mean, I'm not saying it's all normal or that it makes any kind of sense, but it's interesting. Like, and that's sort of what you go to David Lynch for, is interesting, right?
Yes, absolutely. Now I'll say I haven't watched the new Twin Peaks because, and I'm possibly going to get lambasted here. I never watched the original Twin Peaks.
What? Really?
Really?
I did not either, Alan. So
yeah,
you're both off the show. It's just me and Locke from here on out.
So if I had watched the original, I would have watched the new one. But
I think you'll find that the original is probably still available on some. Is it still on Netflix? Shane, you would know this. Is it still on Netflix?
Is Twin Peaks? No.
No.
At least the last time I looked for it. Let me log in and take a peek.
It's around. You can see it if you want to.
I'm sure it's on like YouTube or something. Anyway, not important at this time. So I'm out of beer, Shane.
Yeah, me too.
This is
all right, boys and girls. Thank you for watching. Thank you for visiting us. We hope you enjoyed your time here. We appreciate you letting us invade your screen from time to time. I'm sorry about Dave. But that's how them's the breaks. So until next week, it's
try
Dave's
beer
turn
float
to pick and try a beer float because Longwood or whatever stout strikes your fancy. Now you're gonna have to search for them because it's not really stout season. So look,
they're out there. They're out there.
And we'll see you all next week. Alan, take us out.